And hello, everybody. I see we have some fellow people on here live tonight. So thanks for joining us. This is our inaugural DSDN parent webinar series. So we're glad that you could join us tonight. We'll be doing this live for the next few weeks here through April and part of May. And just are really excited to kind of jump into this, try it out, and see what feedback you guys all might have. So be paying attention afterwards. I'll send out a survey after we get a few of these done as well. Tonight, we'll be doing session 1, and our overall topic tonight is just the Down syndrome community in general. We'll be giving an overview. I'm Jen Jacob, the DSDN Executive Director and co-founder, so I'll be our host this evening. I also want to be sure that I mention this. Our support team has been doing an incredible job curating this list of resources for parents. You can find it on our website. We have it in English and in Spanish, and it goes to a link with all sorts of links and resources for you, things that come up pretty commonly in our groups. And these recordings will also be accessed there once they're all live and ready to go. So I just want to make sure that I mention that for you all tonight. So we're going to give just an overview of DSDN for a few moments, and then we'll get into just the Down syndrome community in general and what kinds of resources and tools and supports you might find out there. I wanted to just tell you a few things about DSDN, especially if you're a brand new parent that maybe is in our pregnancy group or one of our younger birth clubs, that you might just not know about all the things that DSDN has to offer. So this will just be a real brief overview. One of the big things that DSDN offers is connections. That's a huge part of our mission. We have the resource library, like I just talked about. We also really love to connect you to your local organizations because that layer of support can be so critical for families. We have our online groups. We'll talk about that in a moment. And we have events that we host throughout the year in the form of our mom and dad Rockin retreats. Online supports are huge for DSDN. We are fully based online. We have our team that is from around the country, some around the world even. So we don't have a building that you might go to in some location. We are all housed online. Online, you'll find birth club groups, you'll find topical subgroups, you'll find our pregnancy group, a group just for dads, a group for Black families, and a group for Spanish-speaking moms. All of those groups are moderated by our moderating team that are all trained and working together to really keep our online environment a safe, respectful space for parents to be communicating and talking to one another. If you're on here tonight, I assume you're probably in one of our online groups, and that's how you probably heard about this meeting. DSDN also offers our Rockin Family Fund as a layer of support for families. We send pregnancy and welcome gifts to new families. We send care cards when there's challenging times for families. We offer scholarships to some Down syndrome related events. Last year, we started adoption grants for families that find their way to the Down syndrome community through adoption. And we also send memorial gifts when a family experiences a loss. The Rockin Family Fund has been just such a wonderful gift for us to be able to offer another layer of support to families outside of the online groups. When we talk about the Down syndrome community as a whole, we talk about so many layers of support. And the bulk of our conversation tonight will focus on these 5 areas because they really are key places that you might go to or that your friends and family might go to help offer you support as you're navigating these first years, especially. And we're going to start by talking about friends and family and what that looks like. Friends and family, we all have some people in our corners that just are really being supportive of us. And I think sometimes, at least from my experience and things that I've heard from people online over the last almost 10 years, is that even our most supportive friends and family members just sometimes don't get all of the different nuances that this path might hold for each of us, and they genuinely want to support you and do what's best. And so I just wanted to hit on a couple of things that are really helpful. I think grandparents are one of the categories that we most often hear that people are looking for resources for. And if you go to our subgroup section on our website, there is an excellent grandparents Facebook group. It's not a DSDN group, but it's one that's been going strong for many years. And we know that many grandparents have found it very helpful and a way to talk to other grandparents that might be going through a new diagnosis experience and or helping raise your child with Down syndrome potentially. I'm also going to throw together, I realize that that's probably in the resource library right now, some books and articles that go along with all of this as well. You might find some great blogs too. Sometimes siblings talk about what it's like for them as a sibling of a child with Down syndrome or other disability, and those can be super helpful, especially in the beginning. There's also other support groups online that you might find, or even locally. So that's a great thing to ask your friends and, or excuse me, your local organization about is what do they have that might help out for people who are wanting to learn more about Down syndrome or just the special needs community in general. That those support groups can be so wonderful. I know some local groups do offer that. And I think most local groups really love it when all the friends and family come with you to support your child in your community. So always asking for those layers locally can be really key as well. Online groups is a really big layer of support, especially in the last few years. And obviously, this is how DSDN came to be. But even before us, there were already online groups going on. And my guess is that you've also found your way into some of them, whether it's a small group or a larger group, whether it's in Facebook or Baby Center or on another platform. There are just so many ways to really connect with families around you. There are groups that you might find that are content-based that, for example, like our subgroups for DSDN, you can find groups on heart conditions, on hearing concerns, thyroid issues, IEPs versus single moms and dads and homeschooling. You can find all these different content groups. And so that can be a really nice way to connect on certain topics that you're just looking for additional support or information in. Most of those groups have excellent resources, and our admins and moderators in those teams also can be very helpful. There's also great groups online and Facebook, especially. We've found a lot of groups on inclusion and other conditions like autism that you might find a dual diagnosis with. So those content area groups can be very helpful for you. You can also find some age-focused support groups like our DSDN groups or in birth club groups that you would find parents who also had children about the same time as you. LuMind IDSC also has some groups that are more grouped by cluster, I would say. So they're kind of grouped in categories like birth to 3 or toddler age or school age children. Or adult children with Down syndrome. So that can be another really good resource depending on what kind of support you're looking for. And local and global online resources are great as well. I always encourage families, if they're looking for local support and maybe aren't able to be at the local group, just try seeing if they even have an online connection that they might do. The past couple of years, especially during pandemic time, that really became key for a lot of people connecting. And so even if you're not always able to get in and get to local events, it can be a really great way to connect with people. I love the global layers of support as well, because oftentimes if you have something going on with your child, there might be, something just a little bit unique that isn't even real prevalent in our community. And so by finding people across the country or around the world that also have that condition, it can be a wonderful way to connect and get some support, even if they live not even anywhere near you. So local versus global. I would say searching for online groups, great ways to do it. Baby Center is a great resource. Facebook can be a great resource. Other different websites that have their own, like The Bump and other pregnancy-based or child raising groups. You can find a lot of them that way. I really just recommend searching in those platforms or even just online with Down syndrome and whatever topic you're looking for. And often you'll find lots of them popping right up for you. But online groups can be a great layer of support. And just like online groups, local organizations. think this is one that oftentimes people are really either ready to jump into or they're not quite ready to jump into at the beginning yet. But there are so many local organizations. We partner, I believe, with over 100 local organizations throughout the country and around the world that we can help connect you to if you're looking for those connections. Some are Down syndrome specific. Many states have either a Down syndrome organization at the state level or in different cities and counties. It's just really dependent on your area. Many cities around the country also have Gigi's Playhouses. That is a place that you can go and connect with other families, and it's Down syndrome related. So other families who are raising a child with Down syndrome, and they do really serve families from birth all the way up to adulthood with programming and services that way. I believe they have, I'm not even going to say a number, it's dozens for sure of playhouses around the country now. You might also find some local organizations that just serve the greater disability community in your area. And so that's another great way to find resources, especially if you're looking for something that's maybe just not all about Down syndrome, but other things that you would want to be looking for. Or if your child has an additional diagnosis, it might be another way to find supports and resources that way as well. The local organizations really do vary across the country and around your state. Some offer really specific programs and services. Others offer more meetups and chances to connect. So it's really just great to talk to your local group and see what they are really doing to support you and your family and what ways you can jump in and get connected. So everyone is a little bit different. Most are an excellent resource to just get connected in, ask questions, and they can almost always direct you to some really great resources in your community and give you some really specific answers sometimes to things that might not be the same throughout the country. We often recommend you talking to your local organizations, especially around topics like IEPs or waiver programs, because those are very state specific. Local organizations are a great way to find connections. It just is such a key for people who are looking for that on-site, want to meet up with people, have play dates and play groups and meetups. They're an excellent way to do that. And they can help you find those families pretty easily if you're looking to meet up, and hopefully they're hosting some things as well. We can help you in several different ways find those local connections. On our website, under the parent section, you can find our Connect to Local Organizations. If you click that Connect Local button, we can help you get in contact and kind of connect you with whatever local group you're looking for. You can also go to the different websites of some of the national organizations, and they have some really cool ways that you can see here, depending on if you're on the global website, the NDSC or NDSS, and you can click into each state or each area and look to see what organizations are near you. I would say for the most part, it's just kind of looking here and seeing, and then connecting with them and asking to see, what kinds of things they do. Most organizations might have a website or a Facebook page that might have events and other information that you can connect into as well. And I do believe these websites are updated pretty often. I know sometimes they're a little bit out of date, just depending on what's going on. You might also find some groups that are very specific to being an actual organization, a fully formed, very staffed program, versus other states that might just have parent-led groups. So you can do some looking online and on Facebook too for some of those connections, or we can help if you're looking for that. I wanted to give you a little bit of information about some of the national organizations that are definitely here to offer you layers of support as well. There are lots of very Down syndrome focused organizations, and I won't really get into huge detail about what each of these do, but I do want to just make sure that you're aware of them, because if you're looking for resources or information, this is an ideal spot for you to start as well. The first one is Down Syndrome Affiliates in Action. And this is one that I believe most parents don't really know about. And their goal is to really help local organizations run. And so if you are part of your Down syndrome local group, if you're not familiar with DSAIA, it's a great way to get connected. They can help you really learn about programming and services and how to structure your organization and get it running effectively. They also offer a conference once a year. The next one is Global Down Syndrome Foundation. And Global is a group that's been around a little bit longer than DSDN, and they really focus a lot in the medical and research categories. So if you're looking for some of that resources and information, they are an excellent place to start. The next one is the International Mosaic Down Syndrome Association. And if your child has a mosaic Down syndrome diagnosis, they are an awesome resource to check out. They offer some meetups throughout the year as well, and just lots of specific resources that are more specific to a mosaic diagnosis. LuMind IDSC is that next group, and they also focus on some of the research and things specific around research for medical conditions and things that might be coming up alongside Down syndrome. So they're a great place to check out as well. They also host an event throughout the year that we'll talk about for the Great Wolf Lodge meetups. The National Down Syndrome Adoption Network is an just incredible organization. You'll probably hear me just saying wonderful things about all these groups because they do offer so much to our community. The National Down Syndrome Adoption Network is a adoption network here within the US that focuses on domestic adoptions. And they keep a running list of people who are interested in adopting a child with Down syndrome. And so expectant parents who are considering adoption can connect with NDSDN, DSAN, and they will help kind of connect people to finding the right fit for their family, if that's an option you're thinking about. They also do some counseling services. If you know someone who's expecting a child with Down syndrome and they're just trying to consider what all their options might be, they're an excellent resource to get you connected with that. And like I said, if you're looking to adopt a child with Down syndrome within the US, you should definitely contact them and get on their list. National Down Syndrome Congress is NDSC, and they are a national group as well. They are based out of Atlanta, but serve parents and families throughout the country. They hold an annual convention each year and work to really connect families with information and resources. It's a huge annual convention that happens each summer. This summer, they will be in New Orleans, but they travel around the country each year. Our last one that we'll talk about here for a second tonight is the National Down Syndrome Society. They are also a national organization that supports families. They are based out of the East Coast, I believe either in DC or New York. I think they might have offices in both, but they have been working really closely with legislatures over the last few years. I really got introduced to them at the beginning of our journey when they were really working closely to get the ABLE Act passed. And so you might be familiar with that in your local communities, but NDSS has really worked a lot with legislators out in that area. So that's kind of an overview of some of the really large national organizations that really serve families most throughout their lifetime, is how we tried to kind of bring in those organizations tonight. I did also want to make sure that we talked about a few other organizations that are just more specific to disability focus versus Down syndrome. Special Olympics, if you haven't looked into that in your area, there are programs that start for really young children all the way up through adulthood. They also have some new programming called the Unified program, where children and people with disabilities are connected with typical children and adults as well. So it's something to really check out. And like I said, I think most of their programming starts when your children are kind of hitting that early school age time. So you just need to check into that locally and see what kind of services and programs they might offer for you. The ARC is also a national organization that offers lots and lots of resources. It's a national umbrella, but has little subgroups throughout each state. And they are a great resource for educational law, for answering questions. I know they answer things about waiver programs, but a really great connection if you're looking for things just across disabilities. And rights law is one of my other favorites, especially as your child is getting into school age. They offer lots and lots of support for families around education and what your rights are and what your child's rights are, and just disability law in general. Their website is chock full of information and resources and articles. And then they do publish a few books as well that you can check out. You can check them out probably from your library if you go there anymore, but you can also look at them online or order them online. We have found them very helpful, especially when we were starting the school process. I wanted to hit on some of the events that go on throughout our community as well. Our DSDN Rockin Retreats, obviously that's one thing that happens every year. We host a mom and a dad retreat every year with our goal to really connect and recharge families. So parents come, it's a child-free event. The moms are generally in September, the dads are usually in July or August. We go to different parts of the country each time as well. There's some speakers, you get to eat some lovely meals. We have a few entertainment things throughout the weekend, but it truly is just a weekend for parents to recharge and be around other parents who are raising children with Down syndrome and just really get it. So the dad event generally is maybe 50 dads from around the country. Our mom event has varied throughout the last few years. Pre-pandemic, we had 750 moms in Nashville. And the last year we had about 250 moms in Denver. And this coming year, we will be in Washington, D.C. area in September. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out on our website as well. The next event that we'll talk about is the LuMind IDSC Great Wolf Lodge meetups. Sounds like a mouthful, but that is a great family event. If you're looking to bring your whole family and connect, they host them at the Great Wolf Lodges all across the US. And so you can get to one that's kind of near you close by. And they have just connection events throughout the weekend. It's not a conference. I know that they've had some little pieces during some of the events, but for the most part, it is a place for you to go and connect and be with other families and community that are also raising children with Down syndrome. And their events are generally in September, I believe. So I'll get that link posted to all of this as well. So you can check that out if you would like. The NDSS Buddy Walk on Washington is something that also happens once a year. And that is a time where you go and you're actually talking with legislators about content and topics that matter to the disability community and the Down syndrome community. So you're getting to lend your voice and start to be a part of that process if that's important to you and your family. So check that out if you haven't. It's not an actual buddy walk where, you're walking around the lake or, doing a 5K. You're actually going and talking to your legislators in Washington, D.C. The last one that we'll talk about tonight is the NDSC annual convention. And we talked about that a little bit on the other slide, but the annual convention, like I said, is hosted every summer, and they have just so many speakers and sibling camps and advocacy boot camps for education, and global medical roundtable happens at that event too. If you are looking to learn about Down syndrome, to learn specific tools and strategies to help raise your child, that is the place for you to be. It is a great resource. They have deep dive sessions where you can really dig into things about education or certain therapies or behavior supports. It is really the place to be. They have connecting events. They have a huge exhibit hall. They have dances for everybody each night, and it is just a really fun time. That is generally a place that all families go to as well. So your whole family is welcome to be there. This year, like I said, it will be in New Orleans this summer. So check that out if you're interested. I believe they also each year offer a way to get the recordings or the presentations, online later on after the event. And so if you're not able to travel for something like that, you could definitely check that out and get access to some of those presentations. Whew, that was a lot of information tonight. I hope that you got to hear about some of the things that our community has to offer. I hope that you've heard all of this before or understand this, especially if you're new into our community. I just always feel like it's such an incredible place to be. There really are just so many resources for us and people that are willing to talk to you and experts that you can reach out to and ask questions and find resources and get answers. It really is an extraordinary community in that way. We are able to have access to just the most excellent research and people really at your fingertips if you're willing to reach out. So lots and lots of things going on here. Next week, we'll be digging into the specifics more from pregnancy through the first 3 years. I wrote a book a few years ago with my co-author, Marjorie Sikora, called The Parent's Guide to Down Syndrome. And that really follows across pregnancy through adulthood, but we're just going to dig into the first 3 years on the next webinar here. So you'll get a chance to hear about what it's like, some parent experiences, things to kind of be aware of as you're getting started. And like I said, that will happen on April 14th next week. I do want to make sure that I answer any questions. It doesn't look like, I'm just going to check my chat here real quickly, excuse me. And if anybody has a question about anything we talked about tonight, I'm happy to stay on and chat with people as long as you would like. I do want everybody to be aware also, I think we talked about this at the top of the meeting. All of these recordings will be housed in our DSDN resource library online. So we'll get those recordings done, hopefully within just a couple of days of each of them, where you can read transcripts and just get access to the recordings whenever you're ready for that. Are there any questions from anybody tonight? I'm just going to keep practicing my teacher wait time. Excellent. Well, if there aren't any further questions, I am happy to answer any questions for you at any point. So please feel free to reach out. Let us know what questions that you might have. If you have questions in your groups, always feel free to ask a moderator or our support team. You can email us anytime at support@DSDN or dsdiagnosisnetwork.org. And Josephina, I can see you're answering. I'm going to see if I can unmute you. You can either type your question in there or I can get you unmuted.
So I couldn't unmute myself and the chat is disabled, so we can't type any questions.
Oh, well, isn't that lovely? I wonder how I did that. Many apologies.
So raise my hand was the only thing I could use. I don't have any questions, but in case anyone did, I wanted to let you know.
Grateful for you telling me that, because apparently that was off on the security features. So thank you so much. Well, how lovely of me. Yes. Any questions that you have? I think I got the chat opened now. So if anybody has anything, or feel free to raise your hand and I can unmute you too very easily. If anybody has anything they're wondering about or anything from the presentation. Going to be that kind of end of the week, you guys. So thank you so much for Josephine for telling me that. I appreciate it. And it looks like we do have a question popped up here. Oh, Shauna Cooper, you're welcome. And Christy tested it. Thank you. We just hope that thanks for being the soft launch for us, you guys. This is a first time out for us doing this. And so I hope that it was a little bit helpful. Our goal is to just really continue to build up this library. So that way, when new parents are joining us, they really have access to all of these things. So I hope that it was kind of an easy overview and not too much for you, but we'll get a little bit more going here as we get rolling. Any other questions here tonight? Oh, thanks, Alicia. Awesome. Well, I will stay on for a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, I am going to pause the recording here in just a minute as well. But please let us know what questions you have. Also, if there's any other topics that are going to come up, we have coming up the rest of this series. So next week, it will be about birth to 3. And then we will have Shauna, let me get you unmuted. So we have birth to 3, and then I think you should be able to try it now, Shauna. So we have birth to 3 coming up, and then we will be having, let's see, NDSC talking to us about IDEA, FAPE, ESSA, ESSA, all those different disability law pieces, and just kind of a basic overview of that, just to give you enough information to be dangerous and dig in a little bit more. Then we will have Dr. David Stein, who wrote the book Positive Behavior Supports, which I don't know if anybody else is like this, but it is a book at our house that I have read and reread and give out to all of our teachers at school. It's been really a key resource for us in supporting Owen effectively. And then we actually just got signed up here in May. We'll be having somebody from the NDSS team come and talk to us about the differences in IEPs and IFSPs and just some real basic information on getting that started. So we have some more spaces and a few ideas coming up. So if you have something that you would love to dig into, please let me know. Shauna, did you have a question?
I did. So were the webinars heavily advertised in the DAD group?
We shared it a couple of times. And really kind of the same everywhere. We really just started sharing it this week while we were getting things kind of rolling here, because we were not 100%